night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling their bluff. You got me like, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling their bluff. Hey, it's too late to try to go contain it. A generation fueled by creation. We live lives on a small screen nation. We control the airwaves, no negotiation. I refuse to think we need saving. Something good will come from creation. And when we think that the world is too anxious, we'll adapt, evolve, survive, and save it. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it bluff. You got me like, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it bluff. Hey, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it bluff. You got me like, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it bluff.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me, yeah.
Turn on your mind now, tune into the feed. We're planting digital flowers from a single tiny seed. Yeah, power to the collective in the data and the soul. The hive mind's getting louder, finding voice and control.
What is going on, Hive? I hope everybody had a fun, safe, and relaxing weekend. I'm very excited for this evening's stream, even though the Packers unfortunately could not pull the win out or catch a ball to save their life against the Denver Broncos. It was still a really good game. So I actually got to take Sammy off mute here. I got Sammy T Mafia backstage tonight, kind of an impromptu Sunday Night Live with Sammy. One of the reasons being is I think Sammy does a really good job at looking at a 40,000 foot view, and she's able to go very, very granular on that, on a lot of stuff. Tonight's theme is going to be about Battle for Idaho. This has nothing to do with Pavarotti. I know that I use the clown as that character on the screen, but it has nothing to do with him, and rather the narrative warfare surrounding this case. And there is a battle for the narrative. It's very similar to September 11th in 2001 when people started questioning the official story, obviously on a much, much, much smaller scale. But I think you guys are going to find tonight's conversation super interesting. Sammy's got a great visual that goes through all of the questions that we always get asked about these very suspicious, you know, these are for sure answers. Just trust us. We don't need to show you the evidence type of situations. And so I'm going to say what's up to everybody super quick, and then I'm going to get Sammy up here so we have as much time as possible. We got Critic Rick. We got Sammy, or hi, Sammy T. We got Tina Skull. We got TPO, formerly known as Beck. UK Kaylee, what's going on? Crime Spy. Vita Ann. Tracy from Bama. Christine, K-Kaz, Miss Lisa B, Amanda B. Discord Dawn. Breaking Reality, Crime Spy, Sherry, Les, always great to see you. Pedal Perfect, Heather, her name's Rio, HVAC, Works, Kathy, True to It, Dina, Carrie, Nobody's NBA, Vita Ann, Ashley Lauren. If I say some of these names twice, going quick through these. Susan, Chick D, Cookies Corner 420. How are you doing? Siggy, Stacy, Just Breathe, Constance, Frank, good to see you. Samity Mafia, Andico, 17. Grandma Grizz, that's such a cool name. If I was a grandma, or like, obviously, if I was, when I'm a grandpa, rather, I should say Grandpa Grizz, Grandma Grizz, that's an awesome name for a grandparent. And if you have not hit that like button, please go ahead and do so. Hit like, hit subscribe. I go live every weeknight, Monday through Thursday and Sundays at 7 p.m. Central. Friday nights are later, around 9 p.m. Saturdays, I go on sometime before noon. And so I try to get on here every day, talk with you all in the hive here. And also at some point, if you guys need to do some Christmas shopping, check out hivemindstore.com. Shoe Girl, a.k.a. Dana, she's adding stuff constantly. She's got great stuff. I'm so excited for my Hive Mind tinfoil panties shirt. Oddly enough, inspired by Detective Mowry, who, depending on the night, he's a troll. But he did have an epic idea for a t-shirt. So we got the scrub truck. We got Hive hats, hoodies, beanies. We got a whole bunch of stuff. So go check those out, hivemindstore.com. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring up Mrs. Sammy T. Mafia. How are you doing tonight? Oh, hang on. I did it again. All right. Now you're off mute. How are you doing tonight?
Well, I wasn't on an Egyptian plane. I was at In-N-Out Burger, and I was eating Sundays, and I was pregnant, and I didn't go to any of those states. Well, I mean, I did go to those states, but, you know, I not then. And, yeah. And my God's a sovereign God.
Okay. Hey, Erica. So I heard you also have a book for sale right now.
I do. Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Christ. Well, you know how in the intro I was saying the Idaho 4, the battle for the narrative, whenever people start questioning this official story, right? I said 9/11. You could say Charlie Kirk, Idaho 4. There's the Delphi murders, right? There's a lot that it seems like there's the same blueprint where, you know, if you ask about inconsistencies, you're disrespectful to the victims. Timelines and procedures, you're helping the bad guys. You know, it's just insane.
Or now it's a psychosis. Now we start medical terminology where now we're putting people's creators up, and it's a mental problem, it's narcissism, it's
conspiracy
some sort
theorists.
of right. Where some sort of psychosis, mass formation psychosis is happening. So then we're getting diagnosed. And then it turns into, well, now we're going to pretend to answer their questions, but we're actually not going to answer them. We're going to turn it around and answer things that were never actually said. Just like I wasn't on the plane. Or Brian Koberger. Yeah, well, he wasn't in the house, but okay. I mean, it's like, and this happens with everything. And they do it every time.
It's incredible because the moment that people begin questioning how the case was handled, it's not about who's grieving. It's not even necessarily what happened to the victims. It's how did the investigation unfold and how did we get here? No matter what case, those same rhetorical questions always start to rear their ugly heads. And I'm sick of it. I'm absolutely sick of it.
I mean, the second that this plea deal was done and we started hearing about a second weapon, my fucking face, I wish I could have taken a picture of what it must have looked like when I heard that. Like, it always weirded me out that we never had forensic reports exactly of like what the stab wounds were like, how many inches in diameters, how many, like, this is exactly how the pattern went, how much time this would have taken. I mean, those nitty gritty forensics that you would need to prove this in this tight timeline always bothered me. And then at the last final minute when the plea deal's getting done, you bring in the family and say, oh, and by the way, might be a separate weapon. What?
It's just insane. And it's always, we already know who did it. Trust the authorities. Trust us. Why are you obsessing over this? Let the families heal.
And
This
then
isn't a movie. This is real life. And it's like, okay, we're asking about the investigation, dude.
And on top of it, then they say things like in this case or in the Charlie Kirk case, we're going to taint the jury pool for asking questions. Well, if you're already putting the foundation of our criminal justice system is innocence before guilt, you make an allegation, right? You have to prove this. The state's saying this, but the presumption of innocence is there before you prove it. And we seem to just Tyler Robinson, Brian Koberger,
Another one, yeah.
Richard Allen. We're just like, okay, we go for 2-something years with documentaries and interviews and all this Fed slop horse shit thrown at us. And that's not tainting a jury pool. The fact that you keep comparing him to Ted Bundy every other day.
And I've had this, I said this on stream. I actually said the loner incel hates women, misogynist. I was going back and watching one of the original documentaries that came out. Actually, no, it was the CW documentary. It came out like 7 or 8 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
And they made the comparison of Papa Rogers and Elliot Rogers. Elliot Rogers,
Right.
who was an incel and he was a loner and he did go shoot and stab people in a sorority and didn't like women.
And that wasn't even true.
It's just crazy about Brian. That's what I mean. It's crazy.
Right, I know it, but like that whole Papa Rogers thing, that wasn't even Brian. So why was that even brought into the fray? How is that not tainting a jury pool?
Well, it's Fed slop. Did I ever tell you about the time when I got an email about showing some of the 4chan posts that I showed on stream for Hive Mind 5? Did I ever tell you about this?
No.
I don't know if this person still watches. This was months ago when I did one of my first ever like Wayback Machine 4chan posts. I showed a bunch of screenshots, like the craziest ones. A lot of them are ones that we're all familiar with. The really nasty one that was calling all of them out.
Yeah.
And this guy screenshotted. He's like, I'm surprised that somebody like yourself, Birdie, I don't know if you're not familiar with 4chan or Reddit and the way that, shit posting is or Fed posting looks. I can't believe you can't see it. I need to go find this email. I'm going to write this down. So I'll show you guys this. All of the usernames were adjective. It was like adjective, verb, 4 numbers. Adjective, verb, 4 numbers. Adjective, verb, 4 numbers. All of them. And he's like, there's no way that that's a coincidence.
I mean,
He's
they lurk on there. That's how they entrap these, semi-autistic loner kids into school shootings or into all of these things. Like the feds you always find out later, oh, and by the way, the feds were tracking this person for God knows how long on Discord or whatever. It's like, what do they do all day? Why can't we see that? If our taxpayers are paying for a law enforcement agency and we have zero insight into what they do all day, that's a little alarming. I want to know, is there a room or a bunch of rooms where a bunch of fucking feds just sit online all day and whip up some kids on Discord or 4chan?
I'm convinced there actually is, like these chat rooms that are completely set up by feds, and it's feds are outnumbering normal people in them. I don't.
Well,
think
we know for a fact
stretch.
that feds were tracking us at Twitter, thanks to the Twitter files being released. They did a great job talking about how there was a backdoor, and it was literally a fed's job, multiple feds, to sit there all day and look at people's tweets. How insane!
Is this true, Brandon? Reddit's headquarters is at Elgin Air Base.
I didn't know that.
Wow. That's crazy. I got to look. If that's true, that's wild. And so really, we're going to be diving into Idaho specifically, but I do think that it's very important just to lay out that theme for this evening, because how people are asking at times, or it's I think it's becoming more popular. I've heard it more and more. It's like, is this some sort of study? What are they are they studying us? Is this a trial for the public of obedience? Obey us. Don't go against us. What could it be?
Or to see, I think, how does this fracture a public exactly? And where do these groups dive off into? And then we get labels where it's like, there's the pro burgers, there's the guilters, there's the right. Like, then all of a sudden, I don't know how this happens, but then we get labels thrown at us when this is going on. So it shoves us off into camps. Then we're the truthers. Then we're the right. It's very, instead of just being individuals that are curious. And so I'm who's studying the behavior of this, if this is and are they wondering how long does it take for these groups to fracture off when they drop a bomb on us like this? Do they wonder how many go into what category? Are they trying to figure out how long does it take for the public to figure it out? Like, I don't know what the point of it would be, but it is interesting to think about.
It is interesting. And Hive, help me out with this. Sammy, do you remember the rumors about a chat room on League of Legends in this case?
Something about that in the beginning. Yeah. I remember Seagirl talking about this.
When you brought up the chat rooms, I hadn't thought about that in a very long time, but I was like, I think there's a rumor about the League of Legends and how that might be a connection.
That and some movie they were making.
Yeah, I'm going to look in the chat here and see what people are saying. I don't know if anybody remembers it, but if it does pop into the chat, I'll put that up there. It's like this case came with a prepackaged muzzle. Does that make sense?
Well, they're trying to get us more comfortable with these sorts of tactics in hearings, gag orders, public, actually not really, because this is a lot behind closed doors, portions of hearings that have nothing to do with security. So why isn't this public? It has a lot of sealing involved, which just creates a vacuum. And a lot of behaviors that I have never seen before in trials to the extent of it. Like, you see some things, but not to this extent. And it's very worrisome. The IGG got ushered in and then it got taken away as a law enforcement tip. Like, this was the linchpin for them at one point. What else did they have? As we're finding out, that's not his fucking car. Right. So the point is like, if we can, they harped on that IGG, and then Othram just gets this litany of great press. If you just Google Othram Labs hit news, you're going to see an article almost every day about the great work we're doing. Fine. Yeah. That's not a problem. Go solve as many cold cases as you want.
Right.
The fact that this was the only genetic evidence tying him to this, and we can't see your work, and then this was the linchpin that now we're referring to as a law enforcement tip. Was this some way of ushering in, this is how we're solving cases now, and don't ask any questions?
I think what is really hard for myself when it comes to this case is here's what got me interested in the Idaho 4 case. The timeline made zero sense. Brian Koberger, his demeanor, the autism rumors, what they're saying he was, it didn't add up from having, and now confirmed, no connection to any of them, right? And that's when it really started to click in my head of, if you go to OKC bombing, 9/11, Waco, you have a shocking event, there's a suspect. I know that it might have taken a while for Brian Koberger, but the suspect is then served up on a platter. The narrative is locked in, it's written in stone.
And
the second it goes into the news.
And not even that long. If you think about it, think about how long it took to catch BTK.
Well, that's very true. That's a great point. And then so once they do serve that suspect up on a platter and they perp walk him and they give him the media tour, right? Where he's on every channel, or they're on every channel 24/7, worst person ever, diving into family, friends, every little complaint about you look like shit to the world. And then anybody who questions that whole process, you get painted as a lunatic. My point is this case follows that exact playbook. And I don't know why it is so hard for people to see that. Does that make
Yeah,
sense? It
it
feels
does.
very obvious.
To me, looking back in hindsight, I mean, it's felt that way for a while, but yeah, it does. And they made a few mistakes in the beginning by including us on a few facts, like the 2011 to 2013. I think once they picked their patsy, that's when they were like, we have to take that back immediately. There's nothing to see here in Eugene, Oregon. Don't worry about that, Elantra. Oh, it's actually a 2015. Like, wait a minute. Why would
The
you have us looking for that then? It just made no sense. But silence, gag orders.
So what did they have to do to convince the public that Brian Koberger was guilty? It's very simple to see. First, discredit him, call him names, go after his character, say that he's weird, he hates women, whatever it is. He's jealous. That's the first part. And you're doing that simultaneously as you're locking in the timeline. Then
you're locking in the people too, by the way, that are gonna then
yes.
go on camera right after that's announced, and you already have 3 students who are going to talk about his hatred for women, his tough grading, and you're going to have somebody who lived near him who maybe saw him twice and said, yeah, he's weird and runs at night.
Exactly. And then there's no murder weapon, but there's IgG and there's the white car. Think of how simple that is. If you have the reach of the world news, think of what they convinced everybody of.
It's crazy.
It's scary, dude.
It's so scary. And now that we're seeing the footage that they had this whole time.
Oh my God, I know.
It's like, how do you sleep at night? I can't even imagine. How do the parents not sit in front of that police station every day with signs and blowhorns being like, who the hell killed my kids? And why aren't they doing that? They have the same eyes we have. The car had fog lights. What are you doing?
So the other thing, okay, you had brought up, and we've been generalizing about how it's muzzled when you ask certain questions. And that's something that we'll do here on this channel. We'll ask questions that maybe others won't, or we'll look into stuff that maybe others won't or are hesitant to, because it's thinking out loud in real time. That's what the Hive is. Isn't it also interesting to think about how that is another factor of this pattern? Every time one of these situations happens, like I just listed out that playbook, what we're doing, what the internet is doing, is always included in that.
Yeah. And how we're going to be painted. And a lot of times I do question, like, are we, okay, we're talking it out, but then if we're just becoming that other end of the spectrum, where then it's like this constant battle that they've created because they've made up this entire scenario for us to feast off of, the guilters and the pro burgers or the whatever. I just wonder, like, are we playing into what's already been designed?
And that's one of those questions that not a lot of people will say or ask.
Which is a little frightening.
Yeah, it is. It's frightening because in my opinion, in many people's opinions, it's a reasonable question at this point. If you would have said this after the first day, okay, like let's listen. But then again, a lot of the people that can see it, when they see it, look at the Charlie Kirk situation. People were on that shit immediately. The internet has gotten such a keen eye for these situations, and people have real followings and real platforms for it on every platform.
Yeah. And I just wonder, though, if it's designed that way. Like, I don't want to be, just because I'm on a different puppet string doesn't mean I'm not attached to that thing at the top that's controlling it, right? Just because I'm a different hand of a puppet and the other hand I may disagree with, doesn't mean we're both being strung, whether it's the Fed slap narrative crowd or what we consider the more critical thinking crowd. If the same thing is controlling the puppet, I mean, does it really fucking matter then? Aren't we just as bad? I don't know at this point, but sometimes it feels like maybe they designed it for this reason, this way, and I'm not sure at points. But I will say, I don't know, because it seems so elaborate that I have a hard time thinking that it's all this, maybe some of it. I don't know.
Well, and it's so there's the simple quote of a lie will travel twice around the world before the truth even has time to wake up and get dressed for the day. Everyone's heard
Mhm.
that. I think when it comes to a narrative, if you want to go a little bit more granular, especially surrounding a case like this, that it's only the narrative. Once that narrative or that story becomes sacred, it stops needing proof and you just need to repeat it. That's
Yeah.
it. That's what we're watching happen.
And that's the craziest part is they didn't, now that all the video evidence and reports are coming out, they did lock, stock, and barrel sell us a narrative. The people who reported on it dutifully for this long, how they aren't retreading ground and going over these reports in real time, now that you actually have the evidence and you're not just buying the law enforcement slop that they fed you, how aren't you pissed? Like, they lied about the car. They lied about the times. They lied about the roommates. They lied about everything. Like, how could you not be angry with yourselves that you fed into something because somebody repeated it? They didn't show you a single piece of evidence. They
Yes.
gagged it. They
Yes.
sealed it.
That's a cult. That's
It's
not a justice system.
ridiculous.
And it's like, shoot, I just forgot what I was going to say. You were talking about how, what did you say about you might be on a different string?
Yeah, like if these sorts of psychological operations are done with an intention that we're not aware of, and we think that we're fighting against this Fed slap narrative or this law enforcement narrative or this government narrative, so we think that the people who are believing it are controlled. But what if we're just another hand of the puppet and a different
Right.
string that they're
Yes.
also controlling and accounting for? That this is how they're going to react.
Yes.
This is what they're going to do. But guess what? We're controlling both arms. They're different arms, but we have both of them.
You were on the stream a couple of weeks ago and you had that white paper about how to set up a psyop. That is in there. They used an example actually from, I believe it was somewhere in the Middle East, the US. A professor had written this white paper about they wanted their citizens to start reporting IEDs on the side of the road. And they ran a psychological operation. They showed images or videos or whatever. Even if it didn't happen in the area, they would say like this many were found. And they would convince people that their neighbors were all calling and reporting these IEDs. And then they did account for the people that they said, we're not going to believe that. And that was a part of it. That's what I was thinking of when you were saying the two different strings.
Yeah. I mean, they did it during COVID. The British government was caught saying that this is what we're going to, if we give this directive, people are going to act like, and they gave like a rundown of how people were going to react, and they war gamed out how we're going to deal with certain, but they already in their heads had this all planned before they gave the directives.
And I want to say this louder for people in the back. Something can be a real tragedy and be hijacked into a psyop. There's
Right.
also, with false flags, those can be real events that are allowed to happen or were set up to happen, right? It doesn't mean they're completely fake with every shooting or whatever has blood packets and all this. That's for the generalization. A psyop or a psychological operation can absolutely come after the fact, and you can build it around a situation.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
I think when people hear the word psyop, though, Sammy, they think this is just completely fake and staged. I don't know if anybody's really going to know that. You're going to have to go off of your own thought and your own opinion. And we're not sticking to one or the other in here, but I want to make that clear. A psyop, when we say that,
right.
it's about how they have people think about something.
Correct. And we don't know how far in advance these predictive things are planned exactly. How far out do they push these things? Is it spur of the moment? Is it months before? Is it weeks before? Is it years before? Is it decades before? I don't know. But I do think that goes into, okay, once this goes off, how are we going to look at this? And then how are we going to manipulate the thing that was done so we can study the behaviors of people?
Yeah. And a psyop, look at what Meanie just said. People have been programmed to have a knee-jerk reaction to the term psyop, to the term conspiracy theorist, to the term whatever it is. That's such a good comment, Meanie. That's so true. There's a psyop on using the word psyop.
It's so true. And plus they say they already are knee-jerk reaction to think that psyop means entirely fake things set up, like a fake body, fake blood. And no, that's not what it means. It means a real thing can happen and they're psychologically operating within that thing. And they're playing on the structure of that thing and they're pulling levers on how it's going to go down. Exactly what lever are we going to pull next? Let's see if we can get away with this. How is this going to react? How is that going to react? Let's seal this, right?
Well said.
It's not just fake.
Right. It's really about who gets to control the narrative and who gets crucified for challenging it. That's what it comes down to. And even look within the true crime community or the communities of people who look into Charlie Kirk. Everybody ends up going after one another. And I'm not saying that just for Idaho 4. I'm saying, look at Charlie Kirk. There's people that are going against each other. You got people against Candace. You got people for Candace. You got a lot of different things. There's a
lot of psyops going on with this. A lot. And I think
weird.
one of the bigger ones with the Charlie Kirk is blaming. They need a scapegoat for why MAGA is fracturing. Not realizing that it fractured the second you said Epstein who? Democrat hoax. I mean, to blame all this on the fact that people are questioning an assassination in front of the world, and then you push out this Tammy Faye Baker wife and acting like a weirdo all over television, and we're supposed to just eat this up. Stop it. Like, no.
Well, it's crazy because I have this list up that you had sent me, which thank you for doing that. I thought this was... It's a perfect list of what we're seeing in this case. My favorite one is number 10, where it just says, stop, just stop. Do you know how many people have said that in comments?
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Stop. That's all.
Just stop. Yeah.
That's all I have to say. That's all I have to say. Buy my book, Shabbat Shalom.
I do have her eye picture that she sent me where she looks like a reptile.
Jesus Christ. Anybody else's pupils do that? What the hell is this?
Turn into like a cat.
This?
It's so crazy. And there's some videos of it. I knew we were going to end up talking about that. So I wanted to show this because this was super recent. This isn't obviously something we're going to spend a ton of time on, but this is crazy.
We said our prayer and we asked the Lord to protect us. And we asked the Lord that his will be done. That's what we did.
What the hell is that?
Whatever Lord she's praying to.
This one's creepy. This one's creepy. I'm going to restart this one.
Whatever Lord she's praying to. I don't think we have the same Lord. It ain't the same Lord.
Hell no.
Hell no. But this one's pretty crazy.
He would love for me to be angry.
Oh.
He would love it.
Here's another
I'm
one.
gonna go hide.
Yeah, I need to hide. It's crazy.
At your eye, all
into the students.
What is that? She reminds me of this pastor. That's what it reminds me of, Sammy. I'm not even just saying
What
the eyes are
psychological
creepy.
programming makes your pupils
Oh my God. I don't know.
I hate people using God and children as shields for answering questions. Nehemiah, I'm busy building. Bitch, you're busy selling a book. Could you imagine Jacqueline Kennedy 3 months after the president's head was blown off in the back of a limo being like, Shabbat Shalom, America, buy my book. I mean,
No.
what?
I couldn't. And so I will say that is one thing that is okay. Let me ask you this. It is interesting that it's the opposite in the Idaho 4, where it seems like families are saying don't do it. But yet, if I have every reason to believe that those text messages with Brat and Steve were real, and they were talking about James Patterson, and he misspelled Patterson and he typed Peterson, which caused some confusion in those texts. But that was 2 years ago. And it is interesting how the families say that they're against that, but it's really only one family from what I've heard. Stacy Chapin sold the book, The Boy Who Wore Blue.
Also a weird psychological operation, what they did between the parents to make them distrust one another and end up
go over that. Go over
divided. I mean, they treated the parents differently.
Right.
The Ethan Chapin's parents were seemingly treated differently than the Goncalveses. Xana's family is the mother obviously was involved in law enforcement and criminal cases prior to this and had a warrant out for her arrest, for God's sake. So that was in the balance of the tragedy. And she vocalized online at some points being like, I don't buy this. And then all of a sudden that stopped. It's just very strange how I feel like they were pitted against each other at points or brought together when they needed to be. It was very strange. Very strange. I didn't feel any sort of camaraderie like Columbine kids' families, like 9/11 families. I mean, it's very weird.
I remember seeing an interview of Xana's mother in a car doing an interview on one of the mainstream channels, and she had said she found something out via a Reddit post.
Yeah, she was with Ashley Banfield, I think.
Yeah. And do you find it interesting that News Nation seems to have this like Idaho 4
in?
Yeah.
I just think it's weird that Brian Enton is like reading the same documents on camera that we were reading at points. And it's like, wait, do you like not have reading comprehension skills? Did you just comprehend what you read out loud just now? No? Okay. It's very bizarre.
Well, it's reading without thinking. I equate it, when I listen to him read those documents, I equate it to, have you ever been reading a book in your head where you're reading silently and then your brain kind of starts to wander off and you're like, oh shit, like what did I even just read in that paragraph? Yeah, that's what I feel like he's doing out loud. He doesn't understand what he's saying.
Right. It's almost like when he's reading news, people, I'm sure, read chyrons all the time. Right. And they're just, I mean, that's what Anchorman's all about. They're going to read whatever's on the chyron. They're not actually processing what they just said. So I feel like that skill might get warped so much into their heads that when Brian Enton is actually sitting down with documents and reading through them, it's almost like he's reading news chyrons.
Well, and I just saw a comment. My Tootsie Roll says, Olivia is really mad that they didn't consult with the family on the Lifetime movie coming out. I think if we were to think logically about this, I can see why families would be upset if there was a director that didn't consult you. However, not every story of every crime is consulted with the family. I'm not saying that it's right or wrong or morally correct. Make your own opinion on that. However, with this many documents and the court hearings being, I don't think that you would need to. What are you going to get out of that, right? And do you want a green light?
Think of the psychological operation of like, why is this particular case getting so much Hollywood treatment? Like documentaries, news specials, interviews, behind the scenes, books, now a Lifetime movie. I mean, does nobody find this just What is this?
Right. And Tootsie Roll, I wasn't coming at you in any way. I hope that it didn't come out that way. I was saying I could see why logically a family member would say that. And then
Yeah.
another point, excuse me, another point would be, well, what about the other ones? Because it seems like the other ones really, really help the narrative, which makes me go back to my question I just asked you about why does News Nation seem to be the ones that have an in on this case? And it makes me question Steve talking with James Patterson and an in. Is it something with controlling the narrative and is Lifetime actually outside of that bubble?
I don't know. I don't think anything in Hollywood's or is outside of a bubble, but somebody's got to greenlight that script. Who wrote it? I don't know. And again, it's a script. Is anybody sitting down with the documents that's making this movie? I doubt it.
Right. And so if I had to think about this battle for Idaho, I don't believe, see, this is where people, I want you all to know, I think that it's going to take a combination of everything, the video, the documents, the rumors, people like all of us that are talking about this. It's going to have to be a combination of it. If you were to say the fog lights or the screams at this time, the activity on the camera we're all seeing, I can't stand how that doesn't seem to be credible evidence. But on the contrary, those exact same type of things are what convicted Brian Koberger, essentially. Because if you got everybody's cell data on that tower, guess what? Every single one of those kids, they're not going to be in the house, but they're going to be near it during the time.
Well, that's why I said, I mean, for years now, okay, if they were tracking all these phones, where's all the rest of the phones and cars in the area then? Why is it just this car? And it's not even the right car. And then they knew that. And that's why they had to cut off the time with the 2:47, cut off the 7.5 minutes. And I don't know why that Ashley Jennings just got to get up and say, poof, 7.5 minutes. Who cares? We just.
I don't I don't believe that the 7.5 minutes, I just don't think that it's even close to that it could have been done in this time frame with a knife. If it
No, I
was a
meant like
bunch
the
of people.
7.5 minutes of when the car, they cut off when they said his phone cut
I'm
off from the
sorry.
network.
Yes, in general.
That's what I mean. Like
Yeah.
she just got up there and said, "Yeah, well, we lied about that, but so who cares? 7 a.m."
Right. And I interpreted that as
I'm sorry,
just,
what?
well, it's about like talking about the timeline in general. I don't like to continue to think through a timeline that seems so obviously false. I think everybody has done a really good job pointing out inconsistencies in these official documents, in the video footage. I think that has been established that the timeline is false. So it's not that I am not believing their story, that they have pieced stuff together to be able to put that in an official document, whether it's wrong or not. I think they've gotten it to the point where I said, as false as it is, I've not heard anybody, ourselves included, that have put a theory out that is neater than the states. And that's crazy to me that we can't do it.
But it's because we're sitting here getting. That's why the way they released everything is in these caveats. It's like,
Right.
here, you're going to get 100 pages today. Wait 4 months. 200. Wait 4 months. 100. Wait 5 months. Like, it's like, can you not? I mean, what is this? Shouldn't you already have this uploaded on some sort of state website ready to go for when this was done? I don't understand why this needed a special upload. And then we got to go over, like, everything was already decided. This is piecemeal bullshit. And it's impacting how we connect everything. And they did that on purpose.
And redacted it during the process.
And that's why when we react to every little thing that comes out, it's because it's just that outrageous, but it also keeps us from tying things together. Whereas if we got it all, we'd be able to all tie it together. And that's frustrating.
It is frustrating. And Riley Church, thank you so much for the super chat. Excuse me. Riley Church said the common thread in all those, the feds.
Hell
We
yeah.
are
Just
fed up.
Ugh.
It's remarkable. There
How
is
anybody buys what they're saying. They've assassinated people. They've lied about it. We know about that. They've gotten people to commit crimes. I mean, I can't believe that we have an organization like that and we get to watch that googly-eyed liar up on, it doesn't matter, whatever FBI director it is, they're all liars. And we have to, people are like, well, let's just see how it plays out. We got to trust our institutions and the FBI. Why? What?
Why?
They're there to gatekeep and lie.
Yes. And Reasonable Doubter 22, then, thank you for the super chat, brings up an interesting take for sure. Imagine the actor playing Brian Koberger. What does he have to go off of? There's no childhood photos. There's very little social media. BK's life is like a ghost. I swear to God, that's one of the most under discussed aspects of Brian Koberger. He was born in a digital age in the early 90s or like early to mid 90s. I'm not
that's
saying
going to
that
be another part of the psyop where it's like, how are they going to portray him? Because however that person is going to be portrayed in a movie or whatever bullshit narrative they've been feeding us thus far about his personality and his hate for women and Elliot Rodgers, Ted Bundy, whatever they've been filling this vacuum with, because we don't have anything legitimate on him or any real clear-cut evidence of what his life was like prior to WSU, honestly, then I wonder, like, is this just, okay, now we're getting a Lifetime movie, and however this character actor is going to invent a caricature of Brian Koberger, is that going to now stick in people's heads that this is who this person is? I just...
And going off that, the most basic facts about Brian or about Dylan and Bethany, especially Ethan and Xana, the most basic facts are the foggiest. They're the most unclear. Like, where were they? Where were those two? Okay, Brian Koberger. What's his motive? Where's the murder weapon, dude?
I know.
What the hell?
I want to know, like, was that tearful performance, like, from Dylan? A part of me wonders, was that cry of relief that this was finally all over? Like, the pressure of the lying, the pressure of what the police were putting her through? Because we see that the documents for the probable cause don't actually match what she said. And they put a lot on her shoulders. And, you know, you could say what you want, but that isn't what she said. If we would have gotten that transcript versus the probable cause affidavit, I might have had a little bit more sympathy for her, or at least felt like, oh, law enforcement pushed you into something that you really weren't saying. I'm not saying she's innocent in this. Don't get me wrong. But I feel like a lot of that crying was like relief that I finally can stop performing for whatever this fucking play has been.
Right. And again, that's where it goes back to, when you call it a psyop, it doesn't mean that it didn't happen. It's what Sammy is alluding to, and that is they are playing a role in a real tragedy to keep the facts from coming out. That could be considered a psyop. How the news runs with it can be considered a psyop. How I thought it was so interesting. If you go on TikTok and you go to a mainstream channel page, this is an interesting experiment. You should do this. So if you go to somebody like myself's profile or your profile, even Sherlock's, other people that are posting on TikTok, and you look at the new footage, if you upload a clip of it, all of the comments say how this is crazy. It's terrifying. You go to News Nation, you go to Enton, you go to anybody else, those are clearly party noises. And I'm not saying that you can't have that opinion. It's like all of them, top like comments. It's like, that's party noises, has 32,000 likes. That comment gets 32,000 likes. What?
I really think, and it's similar to the Erica Kirk thing where it's like somebody sends out a bat signal and all of a sudden it's, she wasn't on an Egyptian plane. Stop attacking the grieving widow. And it's like, how disgusting. Erica Kirk tells Candace Owens to stop. Mic drop. And it's like the same influencers. And then all of a sudden there's like a bot army trying to like it faster than they're getting ratioed, which they are every time. It's like, what is this?
Well, those bot farms and bot armies are extremely real. You can absolutely be botted out. And it happens to a lot of big streamers and posts. You can get attacked by a bot farm or whatever it is. There was this gentleman on the Joe Rogan Experience. I brought this up one other time. I was never able to find the episode, but if anybody knows this guy's name, he started talking about how there are essentially like an agent.
Mm-hmm.
You could use Erica Kirk for an example. Mm-hmm. There could be an agency that is contracted by them. They have the ability to push bot profiles to shape the narrative around celebrities, around stories. You can pay for people to do that.
Oh yeah, the Kardashians
and it's common
do it all the time.
It's a common practice, yeah.
Or what they do is like, say a bad story is coming out about them, they use a key word from that bad story, and then they go do some press thing that includes that word or that like clickable word. So then when you go to Google and news or headlines, that's the headline that comes versus the negativity. It's really fucked up.
It is really effed up. And I think it's crazy. If we were to search on Google, if you search Idaho 4 and you click news, it seems like everything is 2025. Where are the original articles? You find like one or two on page 10, 25.
You gotta go looking.
There's nothing out there. And I think that there's these continuous distractions in the Idaho 4 case. I believe that we are at the point now where it almost seems as if the timing and the progression of things that they released compared to understanding how FOIA requesting something or getting access to video and audio would take, it seems like that was planned out. Like, here's what we're going to release and have out, whether it be Linda Lane, the car park. Oh, it's a little bit sus that the grub truck and all the cameras have the same timestamps, pretty much. I just think that's so sus. They all glitched. They're all clipped out. I don't get it.
Oh, yeah. It's just, I don't know. And I always I wonder, like, why didn't the defense hire a forensic audio expert to comb through did she get these also? Like, did she really look at these? And if she did, was it a budget issue that I know people are going to say, well, he wouldn't let her have experts on to testify. I understand that. But for their own knowing, why wouldn't you just have a professional go comb through that audio and figure out how was it compressed? How was it sped up? How was it slowed down? What was amplified? What was distorted? What is being done to this audio to make it sound like that?
Right. And that's what I was saying. We have two audio engineers that I'm aware of that are in the Hive. This is what they do for their day job. If you guys remember, there was a guy who made the tinfoil hat theme song, and I played him or I played his version of the song. And then he also had cleaned up a little bit of the 156 or 158 or 152. I can't remember the timestamp, whatever, right around 150, 10 minutes to 2, where you hear the crazy shit on the car park. He cleaned that up. And if you remember, he showed the audio wave. I showed a picture of his studio. Yeah. It's a badass audio studio.
Yeah.
And he's got all the bells and whistles.
I don't get, like, is it because I know that the prosecution was making the defense put on their case before they presented their case so they could counter it. And I always thought that was really underhanded because the prosecution was basically making the defense put on their case before the case was put on. Like, we need these disclosures. They were like all over them like rabid dogs, but yet they got to hide behind everything. Okay, set that unfairness aside, and we didn't get a Franks hearing and everything like that. But couldn't they, without saying anything to the prosecution, like they don't even have to use them at trial, but just for their own knowing, couldn't you just spend a couple $1,000s on a forensic audio expert just to know that this was fucked with?
Well, and so T. Coon said, how do they make a car seem like it's going in reverse, but when it makes a turn, it's going forward? I believe this is a hypothesis. I don't know how we will ever be able to prove this out. Even with the conversations I think most of us have had in here, but talking to the audio engineer dude, he has said it. So if they clip this out, right, or if this was gotten and received in clips, you can extract audio of what sounds like a car leaving, and you can put that noise of the car, the tires on the road, with the video that is muted of the car you're saying it was. And you can erase that car. It's not hard.
Right.
And I don't know if that's because people think that audio engineering and audio manipulation is difficult, because if it's something that you're not familiar with, I could see why that would be an intimidating thought process. But that's like anything. Before you learn it, everything seems complicated. But people really do this shit. Look at music editors. Look at DJs. Look at all these people and what they can do with sounds, guys.
I know.
And it's like this, it goes out the window for this. Like the other part too, I have this photo of that camera, a really close-up photo, one of the closest that I've seen of the actual camera. I'm curious, does anybody off the top of their head know the make and model of the camera? Because I have a picture of it. If we don't, I can put it on the screen quick. It doesn't look like some rinky-dink ass like Temu security camera. Have you ever seen a close-up of it?
No.
Okay, look at this. I'm loading it right now. This is crazy, dude.
I just can't believe that all like this could everything we're looking at, like how did they end up losing this? Like go to trial.
It's crazy.
I would have never taken a plea, but we wouldn't have gotten all this then. I think maybe Ann Taylor's strategy is to get all this, and then I don't know.
Like, look at this camera.
Huh?
Does that even look like a shit camera? That thing looks like it can move.
That looks like a really nice camera. What kind of camera is that?
I don't know. So we've known it's a light bulb camera. If that's a ring,
I really expected that to look so different. Wow.
Oh, nice. T. Coon said a couple of podcasters are buying one to test the sound, so maybe they know. Okay.
Oh, I wonder how much it is.
I wonder if we could put that on
Somebody said Amazon Blub Cam. Amazon Blub Cam.
All right, let's look that up. That's I'm curious. T. Coon, who are some of the people that are that are going to do that? That's not a bad idea at all.
I mean, look at it. It looks like it's got like a rotating thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this is pretty similar. It's $30. Okay. What the hell? I would not
see it in black. See if it comes in black. Okay.
That's close.
That's pretty close.
But
I think she meant to say bulb, but she spelled it wrong.
Oh, blub cam.
She spelled it wrong, and I read it blub because that's what it said. But then I just realized
brand.
That's what I thought too. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, that's.
Oh yeah, that's it.
I mean, so a 2-pack, $95 is not bad. They're cool looking. Like that's a very. It's smart.
Let me see that one. See if I could get I want to what's it called? When you sharpen the image, because I want to see if there's how many or what's the distinctions of the parts.
I can try to do that on here. Let me.
Oh, cool.
See if this is. I don't know if inverting it would.
That looks a little bit. No. I liked it better in the black the way it was because I could see the parts better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sharpness. Okay, hang on. Clarity.
Oh yeah. That's good.
So, I mean, it kind of looks like there's a couple maybe, but
Looks like there's a flash above the lens.
I was surprised to see what this looked like. Apparently, I always think of that kid from Ellen whenever I say that now. Apparently, I've never been on the news before. Have you seen that episode?
Yeah. Apparently.
It's very odd because something tells me that if there are that many cameras, which this seems like a rather small device, camera quality at a consumer level is very, very good, in my opinion, even for $45. You can get a GoPro for what, 230, maybe an older one.
Yeah, we're not living in the 90s anymore. It's not like, you know what I mean?
Right. So I believe too, even with the video, that there's some sort of filter applied to it that makes it grainier, or they've exported it at a very, very low, like a 360p or something.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of blurred areas that I'm confused as to why it looks like a blur tool is taken to some parts of the street or bushes or driveways, but then some parts like cars are crystal clear or windows of houses are crystal clear, but then others look like, I don't know, like somebody copied and pasted a window at this like low grainy resolution. It's very strange.
So 355 degree horizontal view.
Ooh.
That's interesting. Full color night vision.
Okay, so then how did they, if they downloaded a copy of this?
And also, let me just clarify. I'm not saying this is the exact model for everybody before anybody says that. This is something that looks extremely similar. So I don't know if maybe the one, that they had, let's just address that. Okay. I would hope that goes without being said, but it looks like on this, just real quick, this looks like it can rotate. Would you agree, Sammy?
Agree.
Okay.
Otherwise, what's the point of it looking like a ball and socket thing?
It's very, so two-way audio.
I wonder though, like if the police got this, and remember how there was the whole, oh, we need to access your camera, and then she wasn't there, so they had to get login permission, but then they had to go to her house to get the actual camera itself. It was very, 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 very odd. That story was convoluted, and I'm just wondering, like what they did to it. Was that exactly how it looked when they downloaded it, or did they download it, and what sort of handoff did they give to Ann Taylor? What was the thumb drive? What was the program that it was uploaded to give to Ann Taylor? I still don't know that.
This is an actual video review of it. Let's see what it sounds like.
Okay.
Okay, that kind of sounds exactly like it.
That's true.
That does sound exactly like it.
But then I wonder what it would sound like if there was a bunch of kids playing outside. You know what I mean?
Yeah. See if there's any other. Wow, that's great. Yeah. If I ever went over to somebody's house and I saw a bulb cam in
Bye.
I'm leaving immediately.
Yeah.
So let's see what it says about the storage though, because wasn't the storage, can you refresh my memory, Sammy? What was, or if you know off the top of your head, from how I remember it, the storage, it was eventually going to record over the existing footage. That was the reason. And that girl was like, no, I'm not going to be back in town for a month or whatever because of that. And Thanksgiving break or some shit.
Was it every 30 days or 8 days or something like that? You guys have to first. I don't know. I have too many. I'm sorry, guys. Shabbat shalom. There's a lot of things going on.
Okay, so Carl B says 1 star. This charges your card. This 100% free service asks for a credit card that won't be charged in order to download the app. Usually states that right on the window. They ask for the card info, then it charges you $34.55. So you must have to pay in order to store footage.
Yeah,
A
so it
month?
would be like a Ring camera. Like we have
Yeah.
to pay to be able to go look back on something. Like it'll automatically delete. I think it's like motion activated, but I forgot how much we pay for like the storage part. Like it records in real time and you can look at it at any time, but it only works if there's motion. And I don't know how long it stays on the phone. I forgot.
Yeah, so that's a good point. The Ring camera, the one that
It's the
Mrs. Birdie
doorbell
and I
one.
have, yeah, we have the doorbell one that gets activated with motion. So
Yeah.
that's why I think there's sensitivity adjustments, because if a car drives by or somebody's like walking their dog, you'll get it. But if you live on a busy road, I'm assuming that's why they have that, because it would be going off all of the time. And like
Right.
we have the alerts on our phones, like most people do.
Yeah, the only time we ever get it is if like people are dropping off Amazon packages on our door.
Right. Right. Yeah, I think that's why most people, that seems to be the clip. It's either that or somehow it catches, at least my feed is, it's Amazon or delivery drivers losing their
Or an
mind.
animal. Like we have
Yeah.
cats that roam
Yeah.
around. Yeah, like once in a while I get a cat.
Or shootings. I see a lot of like crazy shootings caught.
I
on
mean,
these
not
things.
in my neighborhood, but you never know.
What? No, not on. I don't catch them on my Ring camera. I'm saying that's what my feed shows me. I see all these crazy videos
Yeah.
of stuff going down, and
Yeah, those are fun. I mean,
they're not fun, but it's a,
it's
one of those.
interesting.
It's interesting because when you see the
Like-
title of the profile, that's like, something, whatever the name is, I don't want to watch it because I know that my feed will continue to give me these things. But there's something inside of me that's so like, what
It's
is
like-
about to happen?
I feel like I'm watching a new version of Cops or something. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just like, oh, this is like watching an episode of Cops, but without the cops. It's just like full on insanity.
It was a WIZ light bulb camera. Thank you, Detective Maury. Let's see. Yeah, I mean that looks
very similar to the second one.
yeah. Right here.
Uh-huh.
I'll make it a little bit bigger. I think it's like this.
I'm kind of surprised more people didn't have doorbell cameras.
So this is what I mean. I do think absolutely. I mean, this is obviously what the camera looks like. Here's a. I mean, you can read Traeger clear as day.
Yeah. I'm not seeing very many blurry bushes. What? This looks, look, I can see the plant leaves.
Yeah. And here's what it looks like in the daytime, or with a light on.
Okay, so they had a porch light on, didn't they? Obviously. There was lights. Houses had lights. The street had a light or something. I mean, it looked lit-ish.
To me, it almost looks like they did something.
Wait, go to
where-
that house. See if you can zoom in on the house in the back, because I want to see how that house looks all the way back there, because that kind of reminds me of the house across the street. Like, okay, that seems more similar.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah, that does.
Yeah, that does. That seems similar. So, I mean,
But
hey.
it why does it feel so manipulated though?
Okay, but then here's what I will say. Look at that fence line over there, like on the right-hand side where the driveway would be, that the car's rushing up and down. That's clear as day. So, like, if we're to pretend that this is the footage from Idaho, like this is what we're looking at right now, guys. Let's play pretend for now.
Okay.
Look at this right side of that. That looks clear. But in the film for Moscow, that looks wonky and weird. I don't know.
You got to remember, we are zoomed in though, but this would be, I don't know. What I would say that they did is they did some sort of like,
I wonder how many filters it has. Or does it have like a selection of like how you can film it?
it
Do
almost
you know what
seemed
I'm
not that bad. Do you know what I'm saying, Sammy? Like it's almost like
Yeah.
they put some sort of,
Film?
overlay on it. Like a static overlay. I typed in fuzzy overlay. I meant
It does.
static.
It does seem a little poltergeisty. You know, like back in the day when you guys, I don't know, you're probably too young, but like we had a TV that like you went up to it and you
Like
pull
this.
to turn it on, you had to pull. Yes. And so you had to pull the dot or you had to pull the button out and then the TV picture would come on. But at first it would look fuzzy and then you had to push the button in for it to go off. And so you had that like, it was almost look like that. Your TV started looking like that before the picture came in clear. I'm really aging myself here.
That's a good point by Luna too. We're also looking at a 2025 version, right? So, but
good.
I would say this: seeing that camera, I was surprised that
That's
it was
exactly what it looks like, by the way.
right. Again, it could be a couple years older. I mean, for all we know, that camera, who's to say it was put in 2022? Even it could be 2018, 2019. Who knows?
I don't
what
know.
year it's from. It, like I was saying, there's something that seems off with it.
Yeah.
That's
It's
all.
not,
I don't
it's
know.
definitely off, but the whole fucking case is off. And again, what he's still in prison. We're still sitting here trying to figure out it's not him. So this sucks.
You know, yeah. Ariana said, remember when someone said Moscow is a smart city in the sense that there's surveillance and high-tech systems in its infrastructure more so than most small towns? Yes, there's an article about that.
Yeah.
And they talk about the funding of that. And oddly enough, the infrastructure on the campus goes down.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard that phone call, Sammy, of that guy calling
the
in?
FBI? He called the FBI and he said, I just want to let you know that the network went down. Da, 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 da. And I was like, oh, what a coincidence.
Right. And you know, I know that people have let me just see FBI tip to
I mean, college
yes.
campuses are one of the most surveilled places. And so that's why I find it, again, and this is with the Charlie Kirk thing too. We have some ant running across a roof and plopping down and running away. And now he's in a different t-shirt, limping along the side of a road. It's like, what is this shit? You can't give me a clear footage, but then Candace Owens pulls up a Dairy Queen image and all of a sudden he's getting a blizzard afterwards and she somehow gets the only clear image of this kid, and then the Dairy Queen gets shut down the next day and boarded up like it hasn't been in service. What the hell?
Yeah, I don't understand things like that at all. And look,
this is a college campus that is definitely filmed. The fact that we have such selective images that we're going over, it's the same backyard porch camera. It's the same Linda Lane footage. Where is the campus? Like, I don't get it.
I want to know too, Sammy, are we to think any footage they release is going to tell a different story than what we've already speculated on, or show what they've argued their story is?
It scares me a little bit with the predictive programming thing that you said, the criminal predictive programming, because then that makes me think of the Stanford prison experiment. That makes me think of MK Ultra. That makes me think of unwilling participants and willing participants. And I don't know what that means.
In a non-clinical setting in emerging adults, I don't know what that shit means either.
I don't know what that means, but it's scary.
And the other part about the footage and the audio, when we look at it, we're saying this is what it sounds like. We're trying to figure out a story that is better than their official story that might make some sense. We might hear something in cleared up audio or in cleared up video that people have enhanced or whatever it may be. That's not necessarily changing where that audio came from. We're changing what they released. I said this the other night. We heard the audio that clearly has white noise, something over it, right? It's redacted. Outcast showed the file name, and I showed the audio wave, the visual of it when it goes redacted. It sounds like when their body cams cut out somebody's name.
Right.
Or it's very similar to how that sounds. And I want to know, do we end up having a bias to what they release because that's the first audio we heard? We heard manipulated audio at first. So when you hear something that is enhanced, I'm not even saying mine, but anything, it's never going to sound, are you always going to have a bias of like, well, that doesn't sound like the original?
I said that I think this audio stuff, like, it's not important, but I feel like it's a carrot that we've been given because we're so limited on our carrots. But if you look at the overall picture, like the basic facts they presented aren't the facts. I think that's more important. I think the fact that it's not his car, the forensics that are mixed and isolated, the two weapons that now apparently were used that we don't know about which one, what's the other weapon? We don't know. I think all of that stuff is kind of a little bit more important than what is this? I mean, it would be great if we could find out exactly what they did to it, fine, but I'm not hung up on it in the same way that I think this whole case was reverse engineered at some point. And I think it was probably around the time shortly after and right before the Eugene, Oregon crash of the Elantra that they didn't do anything with, that they lied about.
I don't even know how that car got there. Where's the crash happening of that? Show us that.
Man, and they said, oh, this has nothing to do with this case. Okay, what'd you do to eliminate that possibility? Abso-fucking-lutely nothing. We did nothing. What's in the report? The report is a press release saying that we did everything and that it's not a part of this case. Okay, what did you do? Nothing.
It's crazy. I didn't even, and also what Dustin just said. Did you know this? The file name just so happened to be redacted on Brian Koberger's birthday. That's a weird coincidence.
I heard that Molly McMichael, Seagirl, said her criminal record got cleared. She has no more criminal record in the system. She just has some landlord dispute, but all the cases are gone.
Wow.
What does that tell you? Some deal had to have been had. But Seagirl
She's
said,
good friends with Bill Thompson.
they're all wiped from her record, Seagirl said.
Wow, dude.
That's lovely.
That's
Making deals,
crazy.
backroom handshakes, Molly McMethy, ding dong, we need you.
That's crazy.
Crazy.
I wonder, man, see, I think the only way we're going to get to the bottom of this is by theorizing. My gut tells me that's the only way. We're not going to get to the bottom of this by combing through documents. I think it's going to help paint a story. Here's what I think. The documents are going to paint a picture as to showing Brian did not do this. I fully believe that with the amount of documents that are out there, that is already done. And somebody that is in the legal world, if they have the tools and the resources and the money, I don't think that they would need anything more than what they've already released to the public to show Brian Koberger, and there's more than enough reasonable doubt.
Well, did you notice that the news coverage, since this all got pleaded out and all these docs are dropping, anytime the Idaho 4 is brought up, it's just the same narrative, or they're discussing the latest movie that's being made. They're not even talking about, like, do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Oh, so wouldn't you think that these reporters, now that all this evidence is being released, they would be like, wow, see how much this evidence ties to Brian? Look at all this evidence. Look at all of it. It's amazing. They just have this great big file of evidence on how this ties to Brian. Nothing.
It makes my head hurt. And I'm going to go grab my water. I'll be right back. Give me 2 seconds.
Okay. Yeah. I'm so glad you guys like my Molly McMethy song. Miss I'm eating ramen noodles. I've never seen anybody like in her pullover tapes when she gets pulled over and she's just sitting in her car with her dog eating a fucking bowl of ramen and driving. And she rolls down her window, super cash, high as a kite. And she's like, oh, I know the prosecutor, Bill Thompson. Like, what? Has anybody ever gotten pulled over with a bowl of ramen with a criminal record? So cash. So cash. I've never in my life have seen that before. I mean, the only other time I could say I've done that is like when you get some Mighty Taco or McDonald's and you always open the bag and have a couple of fries. But if I was getting pulled over, I wouldn't be pulling the Big Mac out of the freaking bag and just being like, I know the prosecutor. What?
That's funny. I already know what you were talking about, I bet. Were you talking about
how
that?
she was just comfortably eating ramen when she was getting pulled over? Like, it's who cares?
Can I ask you, what do you think happened? What in your mind is your best theory if you had to say?
I think this joint task force was a part. I think they were possibly involved with just like this recent takedown of a retired DEA officer that I posted an article about, who was in a joint task force. I think that this joint task force was doing some good work, but they were also probably connected to some of the people in this, where they were taking and flipping people, picking and choosing, making money off of it. They knew who the players were. They knew what the risks were. I think they were using students in some aspect, some of the parents in some aspects as confidential informants. I think they knew a lot more and it went sideways. I think that there were some dirty cops involved in the joint task force, federally, locally, state-wise, and it got out of control. And they probably just fucked up and could not afford to have that shut down, because then it would open way more about the trafficking going on.
I think this was something going on for an extended period of time. And somehow or another, I think the girls or people in that house was connected for a long time as well to something that if there was violence, right? Which
we know that Xana was upset with her mom. We know that from one of the girls. I think it was during the police interviews that they had some sort of argument, something or other.
Right.
There was a lot going on. And I feel like instead of being honest about what was going on in that area, enrollment was down from COVID. Businesses were suffering. That's an economic heart of that entire area, especially with Whitman County relying on it and a lot of the surrounding counties. And I think they just put their economic prosperity over the truth and survival of the college itself.
I think so. Speaking of the college itself, I think it's very odd that at no point officially did it seem like Dylan and Bethany or any frat rumors or other students at Idaho seem to really be under a microscope publicly at all, right?
Oh, yeah. Happy Thanksgiving. Go home.
Right. So to me, I feel like there's an argument to be made for frats being involved. There's an argument to be made for students, university covering it up. I'm almost wondering if the university is playing a role in their own PR cleanup of the murders in general. And it's because of that joint task force. So if we don't know about the joint task force and we see the university doing this, I'm just thinking out loud. I'm not even saying that this is my number one, but part of me thinks that if we don't know a huge X factor, like what you were describing with the joint task force, if there's some dirty ass cops or if they were involved with somebody like that, if we don't know that, and the university is just running their own PR campaign to keep this clean in the media, what's it going to look like to us? It's going to look like a shitload of cover-ups.
And it does. And like I said, I think they're covering for individual reasons. But it all stems from if the joint task force had to come to some sort of agreement with the college, let's say,
right,
of flipping kids, of having them become confidential informants for dangerous drug organizations, of maybe becoming trafficking parts of the arms so we could take down the bigger fish. Who knows? But whatever it is, they had way too much of a hand in this.
And have also been extremely silent throughout the last couple of years, in my opinion.
Except for when he was writing a book on what a great job he did.
Yeah, that's true. And I wonder.
I'm sorry, did he get on a town hall with ZBS, Zionist Broadcasting News, Barry Weiss, hawking a book? I must have missed that. He did cry. That was a good tearful cry from President Green. I remember in the beginning. It was nice.
And I wonder if the drug angle with the girls and getting involved with those type of people. I mean, obviously on this channel, we've talked a lot about some of these networks and connections to people and their parents and put a, snitching on them. Xana's mom, you brought her up and maybe they had an argument, but Xana's mom in a police document is saying this better not be because of me cooperating, to sum it up essentially in a fewer words. But what do you think about that? Do you think we're putting too much emphasis on the drugs and it's limiting our thought process of theorizing? Because what if it was like data? What if it was something that wasn't drugs?
Well, I always wondered what they went back in the house for, the Cowboys. Like, what was that?
SD card, maybe, that was in that camera?
I don't know. I always found it like they must have known something else was in that house. They're paying very close attention to the vents. Then they had to, I wonder if they didn't find it, and that's why they had to knock the whole place down, because they were worried about who might find it. I don't know.
Whoa. That's an interesting take. They said, F it. We can't find it.
We're find
tearing
it.
This whole
we sent
MF
the Cowboys.
We
We sent an entire investigation team without booties, and we didn't even care. We went rummaging through that place and we didn't find what we were looking for. We sent those Cowboys in the dead of night, in and out, shut those doors. They couldn't have closed those van doors fast enough. I think they like almost shut themselves, like smacked their arm when they tried to get in the van. It was very weird.
Yeah, the guy did not. He could care less that it was an automatic door on a minivan, and he's just like yanking that thing open, going against it. Like,
Bertie, I wonder when was it officially said that they wanted to knock down the house, and like I wonder how close was that to the time the Cowboys went through and left. Like if they couldn't find whatever they were looking for, I wonder how close in proximity that is to when they announced, hey, by the way, we're knocking down the crime scene.
Well, and I wonder I wonder to that point of data, surveillance, camera, right? Let's actually do this. We haven't done this thought exercise yet. What if it wasn't drugs? We're just going to think out loud, and Hive, help us out here. What if it was that house was flagged because of people on the cell tower connecting near the house over and over and over again? People that the FBI or the Joint Task Force was looking into. What if there's a reason that house was flagged?
Yeah.
That wasn't drugs. Does that make sense?
Like, what if they had, what if they were doing something for the task force?
Well, that's what I'm starting to wonder.
Right. Like, what if they were surveilling? What if they were getting information? What if they had something and had something that they shouldn't have had or shouldn't have known? I don't know. But that was very weird.
This case, because it's very interesting, isn't it, Sammy, that whether it's Brian Koberger, frats, police officers, data, drugs, Aryan Knights, this case was never meant to be solved. It was meant to be closed. That's it.
Oh
They
yeah,
wanted this closed
I was
immediately.
bated breath this summer when I was like, please God, do not plead. Please God, do not plead. I just, when they shut down that last aspect and route for the third party culprit, my heart sank in my chest because I was like, I hope I'm wrong, but I just knew something was going to happen. And when that came down the pike, I was like, God damn it.
I, well, and Love and Other Habits said, come on, they drink all the time. You think they're getting data analytics? I'm not necessarily saying that the
No.
girls, I'm not saying that the girls were the one getting the data. I'm saying, what if somebody else
What
was
if they were using
monitoring?
the house?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That
Yeah.
it could be, hey, predictive criminal behavior, participants that are they're willing or unwilling, or they're known or not known to be a part of this study. What if that house were people that were not they didn't know about this?
Yeah.
Right? And I do wonder if there's an aspect to a theory that we haven't thought about that might make sense if it wasn't drugs, if it wasn't frats. What if it was something what about that house in general?
All I know is it had to go.
What makes, here's a question. What makes a house a target besides the people in it? Or what
I
makes
always
it,
thought
what
I
makes a
always thought
house?
maybe like what are the vantage points of that house? Like what can you see from the house? Like depending on what window you're looking out of, depending on what balcony you are, what is in the sight range all around them, surrounding them? Is it the whites? Is it the next door house? Is it the one in the backyard? It's in a weird spot. DA proved that when he was driving around, and the closeness to so many certain aspects, depending on who's living where, what vantage point did they have to the house? Is that why it had to go? Because then somebody would figure out who lived where, and how does that square up looking into the house? I don't know.
It's a great question. And where did these rumors come from about hidden cameras in the house? Everyone's heard that. Was it the owner, or who was saying that?
I think it's because there was like that door they couldn't get into. Like they said, we don't know how to get in there or something like that. It was locked. And then there was that like secret closet door that was in one of the rooms. Like it was small. I don't know.
I want to know. See, this is now I can't shut my brain off. And sometimes it's hard to continue a conversation thinking out loud when I haven't ever thought about this before. I haven't really felt like I've thought outside of what could the reason the house itself was targeted besides people in it. And maybe the people that were in it were collateral to the house.
Was there around it, like was the house itself being surveilled and you could tell it was? And maybe that's why. I don't know. I don't know. But
Whatever it is, it obviously justifies killing 4 people.
oh yeah, and covering it up and going on stage at Crime Con and thumbs up to Othram and great job.
I want to know about that camera that student group had set up as well.
Yeah.
Everyone's seen that screenshot where the guy was like, at 2 a.m. you see a girl run from the side of the house and get in a truck.
I always wondered about that. It's the same way I wonder about like the SD cards with Charlie Kirk. Like that story never made any sense. The cops, that's so weird. Like if you were worried about people stealing something, they'd steal the cameras that are sitting on the grass, you dopes. They will. Why would they steal a camera that you have to stand up on a chair? And they didn't even take the camera down. They just took the SD card. It's just, again, I would like to see those two things in these cases, but here's to wishing. But I'm going to get going, Birdie.
No, that's fine. I was actually just about to wrap this up. You did great tonight, Sammy. Thank you so much for popping on. I like this Sunday night. It was a little bit of a different vibe, more chill, relaxed. Thank you to everybody that has tuned in. Please hit that like and the subscribe button on your way out. Sammy, if you got any closing thoughts, the stage
yes,
is yours.
I do. I am telling the truth on everything, and I will see you guys later.
Okay, yeah, wait, hang on.
Fucking wackadoodle. I don't know how she even does her eyes like that. Though that like actually hurts my eyeballs to have the whites of my eyes showing that much.
Yeah, that guy's kind of off too, but
Ooh,
nonetheless,
that-
yeah.
What kind of skin suit are these people in? It's ridiculous. It's like
I'm telling you, I think shapeshifters are
I'm
real.
gonna have nightmares.
I think shapeshifters are real.
And we're sitting here and people are worried about Brian Kohlberger. Look at this. I mean,
So
fuck.
true. So true. Well, thank you, Sammy. Have a great night, everybody. I will be back on tomorrow evening, 7 p.m. Central. I will see you then. Cheers. Thanks,
Bye,
Sammy.
guys.
Peace.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life.